Hey, welcome to the One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute with your host, the alchemist of Indiana's Black Forest, Alan Bishop. Hey, this channel is all about home distilling and legal distilling. If you've got questions, reach out to us in the comments below, social media, or via bishopshomegrown@gmail.com. And don't forget to check out thealchemistcabinet.com. Second talking head video of this evening. Of course, you don't get them same day, but you'll recognize the clothes, the hat, all that stuff. So here to answer your questions about home distillation. And I've got some good questions here tonight. And as always, if you have questions, reach out to me, thealchemistcabinet.com, bishopshomegrown@gmail.com, YouTube comments below, and or social media. And I will eventually get your question onto the show in a video. Even if I miss the question repeatedly, just part of life. I'm a busy dude. So don't forget, the Distiller's Almanac is available at thealchemistcabinet.com. It is sort of in addition to the Old Farmer's Almanac or the Farmer's Almanac, sort of introducing this idea of moon phases and signs in the sky affecting different things about distillation as well as agriculture, various different stories, articles about distillation, etc., old folk magic, old folklore, the things that you would expect out of an almanac, but from a very distillers-based perspective. I don't know of anybody else that's ever done a Distiller's Almanac. Proud to say, as of right now, I believe that I'm the first one to ever do it, and I intend to do it every single year for the rest of my life. I don't care if it sells 3 copies or if it sells 3,000 copies. I'm doing it every year. It's something I really believe in, and it honestly has helped fill a gap in me and my spirituality and doing some of the spiritual work that I needed to do in recent months. And I know you guys may or may not be interested in this, but in recent months, well, couple months anyways, I've been trying to focus a little bit more on my mental health, my spiritual health, and even, gasp, surprise, my physical health. I still smoke, but I've laid way off of drinking. I'm using it only for special occasions at this point in time, or when I have to do it for analytical purposes at work. There's very, very little drinking happening in this household at this point, and that is a worthwhile endeavor after 10 years of being in this industry, let me tell you. More importantly, I'm trying to work on my weight issues and, dietary issues and all that sort of stuff. And proud to say it's actually going okay, I think. So, God doesn't promise to perfect us in this world, but he certainly can make us whole, whatever version of God you believe in. So that's my moment of preaching. Also, if you're interested in preaching, check out the If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything podcast. We got a few of those up on this channel, but we also have a whole archive of them wherever you get your podcast. It's all about the strange, the foreteeing, the weirdness, the stories that people are sometimes a little hesitant to bring out into the light. And if you have any of those stories, reach out to me. I'd be glad to have you on my show, because it is hard to find content for that show, guys. So, all right, let's get into it right now. See what we got about the art of distillation, home or legal. So hello, Alan, and everyone at OPAATDI. This is my buddy from up in Canada, TJ. Wow, that's not an acronym that's going to stick. Another fun question from up north. Have a question about an old barrel. I have a used 59-gallon wine barrel that has been setting in my backyard for a couple of years now. I got it directly from an Ontario winery. It has been sitting empty the whole time and does not seem to have any bug problems. My question is, can I take it apart, rechar it, and then use it in some way for aging my spirits? If yes, what would you suggest? I love the Badmo barrels, but they're pretty much out of reach for me monetarily. Do you think I could approximate something like them, or would a smaller milk can type container with some staves in it be a better bet? Also, in a recent video, you mentioned your ugly mug. My wife was offended. She thinks you're cute. That's a first for the channel, and I do appreciate that greatly, ma'am. Thank you. I'm sorry that you have bad taste, but thank you. Much love. Probably because you look like you could be my younger brother. I'm sorry, bud. Thanks again for all your hard work on the channel and elsewhere. That's a great question, a great compliment. I appreciate that. So, as far as the barrel goes, I would say as long as that barrel doesn't reek of vinegar and you're not seeing insect damage, I'd put it to use. Now, if, it's been set on one side or on the head for a while and it's been on the ground, been in contact with the ground, etc., been moist, I'd probably avoid using that part of the barrel just because I suspect that you probably got some mycological stuff going on there where various fungus have probably moved in and colonized those moister parts of the barrel. So you could certainly build something like a bad motivator. In fact, I don't know, I presume that it's still out there, but Ben Quady, who created Bad Motivator, he had a series of videos literally showing everyone exactly how he built those Bad Motivator barrels, all the way down to the jigs he made, etc. I think Ian at 1030, literally when he first started making the little 1030 barrels, I think he was just forcing, like, you know, taking a saw, cutting the head out and then forcing that down into the barrel with brute power, right? Nothing wrong with that. It works and they hold together great. So you certainly could do that. And I think that you do get better results. Let me rephrase that. I know you get better results from that style of barrel because the micro-oxidization, everything reacts very much so the same way that it does in a full-size barrel. So if you have the ability and you have the craftiness to be able to create something like that, I would say go for it. If not, there's nothing wrong with the milk can thing and throwing some staves in there. My preference is, what I like to do if I take an old barrel apart, I often will sand the outside wood off if it's a barrel that's been setting for a good amount of time, including whatever the toast layer or char level is. Go back in and retoast or re-char it. Oftentimes what I will do is literally put the alcohol in a stainless milk can or something of that nature, and then throw some wood in there, and then I throw it on top of a propane burner and heat it up to about 140, like I'm going to make absinthe. I'm going to make the tincture for making the absinthe, and then I let it cool down. I love to do that in the wintertime because I can set it outside where it's cold, and it can get real cold overnight or over the next 2 days, and then I cycle it like that for about a week or so. Afterwards, what I'd like to do is I have one of those little ultrasonic cleaners. I know this is super trite, super Moonshiners TV show, but they actually do a pretty damn good job of imbuing the spirit with some of the more positive attributes of the wood. So I will pack the spirits into a jar, throw some of that wood in that jar, put the lid on the jar, but leave it loose so that a little bit of oxygen and a little bit of off-gassing can happen within the jar. Put it in that ultrasonic cleaner, and I will run multiple cycles on it until, you know, the liquid in that jar gets pretty damn hot. I don't do as much of that as I used to do. And I don't do as much usually after that. I'll take it, you know, take the jar out, tighten it down with the wood in it, set it away for a couple months. I used to do a whole lot of that. I don't do a lot of it anymore. I still sometimes do the ultrasonic cleaner thing, for preloading, a spirit with a little bit of, esterification potentially, as well as wood extract before I put it into a bad mow or a 1030. And that seems to work pretty damn well too. So, bear that in mind. Hope that answered your question, and thank you to your wife for the compliment. Greatly appreciate it. So, okay, so back to Terry, who in a recent video had asked several questions about the angel yeast. He says, how would you recommend someone become a legal distiller? And this is a great question. I could fill up segments and segments and segments just with this one question, but I'm going to give just a general little overview here is what I'm going to do. So we're going to presume that you want to become a legal distiller that's going to be working for someone. So I can't really walk you through the process of starting a distillery from start to finish because every state is different. Everybody has access to different resources and that sort of thing. What I will tell you is this terrible lie that's been put out there specifically by a school of thought out of Louisville, Kentucky, that you got to have millions of dollars to start a distillery is bullshit. Does it help? Yes. But you don't have to have millions upon millions of dollars to start a distillery. I know people that have started distilleries with $50,000 to $100,000 at the most, right? May not be their full-time gig, or if it is now their full-time gig, they certainly had to work their main job while also doing the distilling thing, or they're still working a job and doing the distilling thing. You can do it. You don't need a ton of money to start a distillery. You need a good amount of money. You need to be decently capitalized, let's say. If you're looking to get into the industry, what I would do is I would start looking around you. And I would start looking for rumors of craft distilleries opening or craft distilleries that are already open. First and foremost, look for craft distilleries local to you. See if you can get in and shadow with some of the guys that work there. Compare what you do at home to what those guys are doing in the craft distilling industry and see what you can reconcile, what you can't reconcile. Pay close attention to what reviewers are saying about craft distilling and sort of inform yourself of what the market forces are in craft distilling and what you as a distiller can contribute in that marketplace. Don't think for 1 second, if you've ever been a home distiller and you have friends and or family or people who praise your spirits, that they will be your consumer base, because I can almost guarantee you that they won't be, because I have gone through that my entire lifetime. None of the people that bought anything from me years ago really has ever bought anything from me on the legal side of things. It just very rarely happens. I don't know why that is. There's a whole, you're paying taxes on it, so it must be a different thing going on there, but that's a whole nother story. Once you start shadowing, see if there are opportunities to do volunteer work. So things like, a lot of times craft distillers, they could use a hand on the bottling line. Sometimes they might even give you a bottle of whiskey for doing that, right? It's not much, but it's something. And it counts towards experience that you can put on a resume. Ask them if there's a chance to come in and, get trained if they need help on weekends or on evenings. And then maybe you can work your way up to being, a second shift distiller or something like that, or get on first shift as an assistant distiller over time, but you got to build up their trust. Secondarily, start listening to rumors, see if there are craft distilleries opening around you that might be hiring. Start reaching out to them. Nothing wrong with sending a resume out, asking a question. Worst they can do is say no. The biggest thing is just stick to it and keep learning. Keep learning in the meantime. Keep reading. Don't immediately go and tell everyone in the world that's opening a distillery or has a distillery that you've distilled at home, because not all these people are your friends, or all of them may not be okay with such things. Gauge them and then figure out how to talk to them, how to speak to them, just like you would about any other subject with any other person on the face of the planet. The biggest thing, though, is continue to educate yourself, continue to watch the market, continue to watch what's coming around you locally, continue to reach out to those people, build friendships, build relationships, volunteer with them, see how you can help them, see if you can job shadow with them. Learn everything that you possibly can about the art of distillation from all sources that you possibly can, and continue to pursue it vigorously until someone finally says yes. Whether that yes comes because they want you on staff or comes because they're tired of you asking doesn't matter. They said yes. And once they say yes and you get in that door, you work your ass off to prove yourself to such a degree with the quality of what you do that no one can ever take it away from you. And if you can do that and you can get your name out there off of that, you will have a job for the rest of your life. Almost guaranteed, unless the bottom just falls out of the whole fucking thing, which could happen. I would suggest not focusing specifically on bourbon at this point, is what I would say. So anyways, guys, I love y'all. Thanks for listening to my rambling ass voice and supporting us in all the ways that you do. Don't forget to go pick up the Practical Distiller's Almanac on thealchemistcabinet.com. And also, the Alchemist Cabinet Volume 1 book is still there, and Volume 2 is still there, and you can order those as well. And that all goes to support everything that we do. Love y'all. Later.